Testing, testing. All right, there we go. How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the stream. All right. It has been a minute, so I'm glad to be back. My computer is back working. Delta, how's it going, buddy? Welcome to the stream. Do I have the story for you guys as far as the stream's concerned? Oh, you don't like the pink? I can change it. What do you like, blue? Let's see here. Let's go blue, just because he complained. Let's say blue. How's that? A little bit less pink? There you go. Alright, just give me 1 sec. Let's get some people in here. I'll take you guys through my saga. Yeah, I got some new lights, actually. I got a set of the Lifex. Max Lurker, how's it going, man? Welcome, welcome. I got a set of the Lifex. They're like wall lights. It's like a bar. It's kind of hard to see, but I've put them against here, and they got like it's actually really cool. You can control the whole thing from your phone, and there's like a bunch of different profiles. You can activate them basically remotely all through your phone. There's like different patterns. There's different like ways to use them and stuff. So it's pretty neat. So hope everyone's had a good little few weeks while I've been off. I'm going to take you guys through my computer saga from the start because I think it's an interesting story. And I will tell you how I felt very much like, I don't know if any of you guys are Star Trek fans, but I felt very much like a Ferengi during this whole ordeal. Because as many of you guys know, video cards are like extremely hard to come by right now. So I was like, to get a video card, it took me a huge amount of like trading and bartering and like moving a bunch of stuff. And I'll take you guys through my saga of like all the different steps I took. And in the end, I actually think that I ended up much better, in a much better place. So I'm pretty happy with the deal overall. So I'll take you guys through that. Let me just fix a few things on the stream. I had to kind of reset up everything because like I basically tore down my computer 6 times during this process, which was a bit of annoying, but it is what it is. So let's see here. Chat box a little bit big. There we go. Thanks, Delta. Welcome to the stream. All right. So today for painting, we're going to be working on 2 different projects simultaneously. I'm going to be working on some Thousand Suns Rubric Marines, which I have here. So I'll give you guys a little bit of a look of, let's see here, hold on 1 sec. So we got some Thousand Suns Rubrics, these guys here. They're basically about halfway done. So I've done all the spraying and then the base coating, and I'm working on base coating some more of the armor. And then we're also going to be working on this model that I have here. This is a 3D printed Sylvanas Windrunner from World of Warcraft. I just actually got it. It's for a separate commission as well. And I'm going to be doing some cleanup work on that today. So that'll be part of the kind of process. And yeah, that's kind of what we're going to be working on. So hopefully you guys enjoy the streaming and all the settings are working correctly and my computer doesn't die. So let's see here. Just want to make sure that the video, let's see. I think that's as good as it's gonna get. I think I need to get a new camera as well. Okay, so I think that's pretty good. So yeah, okay, all right. So I'll just adjust it slightly downwards a bit, just like that as well. All right, so computer saga. For those of you that don't know, I've built all my last computers for the last I don't know, 20 years of my life. I grew up around computers. My dad was like a computer dude. My dad actually works in IT. He was like a systems engineer, so I always was like around computers and computer parts. And actually, my very first job, I think when I was like 13, was like an apprenticeship at I worked in a computer store as like I helped them out. It was one of my dad's friends. So I used to like they'd let me like put together the computers and stuff like that. So I've always been into computers and building computers and stuff like that. Built all my last systems. Like I've never bought, outside of a laptop, I've never actually bought a system, like a pre-built for my entire life, outside of like the very first computer that my mom bought when we were very young kids. I think it was a Pentium 100 from, I think the brand was called, I don't remember the brand, to be honest. It was like not Dell, but it was like one of those like really bad like pre-built brands. Anyways, long story short, so I've been building my computers. I built this computer just under 2 years ago. So and I know this because when I looked up my receipts and I bought it on Amazon. Sorry, I didn't buy the computer on Amazon. I bought some of the parts on Amazon, specifically my video card. I purchased them in February of 2020. So that was when I actually, yeah, for sure. So that was when I actually bought my parts, February 2020. And at the time, like, you know, it was a decent computer. I wouldn't call it like top end, but it was no slouch. I have a 3600 X AMD Ryzen. I think it's Ryzen 6 or whatever. I had a 32 gigs of RAM. You know, and a 5600 XT from AMD video card. So nothing too crazy. Like I don't play 4K. At the time, my monitor was only 1080. So I didn't really need anything more than 5600 to kind of play max settings on the games that I play mostly. And this was before I was streaming or anything like that, right? So I didn't think about streaming or anything like that. Anyway, so I've had this computer, built it, put it together, had no issues with it at all. And then lately, I started having, as you guys know, I had a little bit of some issues recently where one of my memory modules actually went bad. So I had to RMA, my streams kept crashing and I couldn't figure out why. And one of my memory modules had gone bad. So I ended up returning the modules, RMA'd it with Corsair. It was Corsair Vengeance Pro, like a 3200 megahertz 6, no problems whatsoever, right? So get those sticks back, put them in, and recently, like within about I'd say a month and a half ago, I upgraded my system to dual monitors, because before I was using one 1080p monitor, and now I'm on dual 1440p monitors. So I have two monitors instead of just one, which I've always wanted, but I just didn't. After, you know, I used some of the money that I sold my army to give myself a little upgrade. So I've been running these two monitors for the last month and a half, or I had been. And then what I was noticing was that every once in a while, my system would crash, right? Couldn't figure out why. So I thought it had to do with the AMD drivers, but I really couldn't figure out what it was because there wasn't any, like, you know, I'd updated drivers, all that kind of stuff. So long story short, the last stream that I ran, I went to, I'm streaming, right? And as I start the stream, I noticed that, like, on OBS, which is the software that you use to like basically broadcast, there's an FPS counter. There's also a CPU counter, and there is a dropped frames counter. So the dropped frames counter will tell you, like, if there's something going on with your stream, you'll drop lots of frames, right? And I noticed as soon as I connected, like as soon as I started streaming, my frames started to drop. So like I was getting like, it was going like green, orange, red, which is kind of like a pretty bad sign if you're, in OBS. So basically it was dropping frames, and I was still here in the loading screen, right? So I think the stream might be still up on Twitch, but basically it's like 5 minutes of me on the loading screen, and then the stream basically ends. So I was like, this is really weird. Like, what's going on? I couldn't understand it, right? So then I opened up my resource manager to check out, like basically I have through AMD's like dashboard on my motherboard, I have a panel that basically tells you, the like all sorts of info about your system. So it gives you like CPU usage, GPU usage, fan speed. It gives you temps, very importantly, and this will come back in the story, for all your various like pieces of software, hardware. It tells you like RAM usage, just all sorts of like network usage, basically a resource monitor. And I noticed that my GPU, my GPU was like 115 degrees, right? Which is really not good. But then I also noticed that my GPU fan RPM was 0. So as I was like doing the stream, my fans on my GPU were not working at all. They weren't spinning at all, right? Which is not good. Now, normally you wouldn't notice that unless you put it under heavy use, because generally with the PC, you can turn on a PC, and even just with the passive heatsink of like most GPUs, as long as you're just like using Windows and not doing any sort of like real hardware activity, it works fine. And it basically won't really throttle, and you won't really notice if the fans aren't working. You'll only really notice once you try to actually run a program and it starts to kind of throttle up the GPU, that the thermal throttles, and then all sorts of shit happens. So as I was doing the stream, I realized that my GPU fans had stopped working, right? Which is not a good thing. So I turned off my I shut down the stream, because I was like, okay, well, I don't know what's going on, but I got to take a look. So I opened up the system, took a look. Nothing seemed to be, thanks, Julius. I'm just explaining the story of my computer drama. So basically, I open up the case, I look at the GPU, everything seems fine. And then at this point, I try rebooting again, and now all of a sudden the system won't boot. So before, it won't even post, right? I was getting just no output, no display output, right? So, and my fans, when I turned it on the GPU, wouldn't spin at all. So I was like, okay, I think the GPU has bit the dust. So I'm going to figure out what to do. So I tried 1,000 things, guys. And if you've ever done any sort of like, PC troubleshooting, there's a bunch of basic things you do. You check all your cables, make sure they're seated properly, reseat your RAM, you pull out all your components, you put them back in one in, like yada, yada, yada. There's a million things that you do to try to isolate the problem, to make sure that it is what you think it is. And I wasn't sure that it was the GPU, obviously, because I didn't take the GPU and test it in another system, but I was like 99% sure it was the GPU. So anyways, I decided through my troubleshooting, so I decided to RMA the GPU, right? Now, for those of you that have never dealt with buying computer hardware, it's especially that's under warranty, right? It's not as simple as going back to the store and returning it and getting a new or whatever, right? A lot of times, the companies that sell you the hardware, like that's old hardware now at this point. So my GPU, it's a Sapphire 5600 XT, has a 2-year warranty, and it's just within the 2-year warranty of February. What's that sound? It's weird. I just heard a weird squeaking sound. I don't know what that's from. So basically, I initiated an RMA with Sapphire, and let me tell you, actually doing an RMA, guys, is not an easy process. The companies make it like as difficult as fucking possible for you to RMA anything. Like usually to actually even get to this, like find out how to RMA it, there's like a fucking million steps you have to go through. They like make you jump through 1,000 hoops. There's like, you have to, do all this like verified stuff. Like sometimes like they try to like kick you back to the place you bought it rather than like them doing it themselves. It's just a huge pain in the ass to RMA hardware. And that's essentially what happened to me for the first like 48 hours. Like trying to figure out like how I could RMA this card was, because they wanted me to go back to the Amazon seller, but the Amazon seller was like a random, like sold by on Amazon 2 years ago. So that wasn't very helpful. And it wasn't sold by Amazon. So Amazon wasn't very helpful. So long story short, I managed to get an RMA initiated. And in order to get an RMA initiated, you have to send back your card with everything. So what I would recommend, guys, if you ever build your own computer, right? Keep your boxes, flatten them if you have to, but keep all your boxes, original proofs of purchase, all your like barcodes, anything like that. Like usually what I do is if I don't want to keep the original box, I'll actually cut out the barcodes and like the serial numbers and all that stuff from the boxes, because those are the kinds of things that you need. So always keep your proof of purchase. Now, thankfully, I was very lucky that I bought it on Amazon, which meant my proof of purchase was on Amazon, right? Well, Diablo's on Friday, man. Well, actually, I'm not gonna play Diablo on Friday. Diablo, I've given up on, and I'll tell you guys why later. Anyways, so I send the card for an RMA, but in the meantime, you guys know that I'm doing some game streaming now, and one of the things that I realized when I was doing my first Diablo stream was that because my AMD card doesn't have hardware encoding and it has software encoding, when I was streaming my Diablo 2 game, I had to actually turn down my Diablo settings from like medium to from like high to like medium, right? Because basically my system was throttling. The CPU couldn't do both high graphics plus all the hardware, the encoding for the stream. So I was determined, and I have been determined for a while, to get a 3600 card, because 3600 or NVIDIA cards, the new ones, I think any of the Kepler, so like 2000 series, 2000 series or later, all have built-in hardware encoding. They have what's called an NVENC encoder on it. It's like a chip, and it does hardware encoding. So I was determined, because I was still in this RMA process and I didn't know how long it would take to actually get a card, that I would use this opportunity to get a new card. Okay, now, any of you guys that are familiar with hardware, the hardware like shit right now, which is video cards right now are like extremely hard to get. Like they're very expensive. So in order for me to, so for instance, they're very expensive. They're very hard to get. Like you're basically getting scalped. Like no matter what you do, if you want to get a video card right now, unless you're extremely lucky with like a drop at like a Best Buy or something like that, which I'll get into later, but you're not going to get one. And in Canada, it's even harder because most of the like inventory right now goes to like the US. So we don't really get like hardware drops in Canada. So I was determined to get myself an NVIDIA card. And so here's what I did. And here's where I feel like this is where my Ferengi skills, many years of watching Star Trek, came in. And I'm gonna pull up the notepad so you guys can follow along with me on this. On my I'm gonna pull a Devin Nash here, and if any of you guys watch any other YouTubers, so I'm gonna pull up a Devin Nash here, and take you guys through my where is it? Let's see, where's notepad? No, that's not it. Here we go. Okay, notepad. All right, let's see. No. All right, so let's do my best Devin Nash here, guys. And we'll pull up some notepad. So here we got my notepad. So I'll take you guys through my video card saga. Okay, so just one sec. Let me just get this a little better. I'm gonna make it a bit bigger for you guys. Okay, so what did I have? So I knew I needed to get. So the goal was, I wanted to get a 3060. Okay, and the reason I wanted 3060 is because it's a mid-range card. It's a mid-range card, and I know that it's not too expensive. I play 1440p. I don't run the newest game, so 3060 was what I wanted. Now, what did I have? Well, at this point, I had no card. I just essentially had a bunch of cash, but I didn't want to spend it, right? But what I did have, and for those of you guys that know, I recently got a PlayStation 5, and somehow I actually managed to get 2 PlayStation 5s. So I got one direct. So I in my pursuit of a new video card, I joined a Discord group that basically does drops that lists drops for PlayStation 5s and Xboxes and then video cards. So like you join the Discord group, and then anytime there's like a drop at like a Micro Center or Best Buy, it basically sends you notification, and you kind of rush right away and you go and buy it, right? So I joined this Discord group, and basically I set up to get drops for PS5s because I wanted PS5 and I wanted a video card, okay? But no one, I'm only getting these PS5 drops. So I ordered 2 PS5s. So well, I ordered one for myself from Amazon, just the PS5 disc. And then the other one I order is a PS5 bundle from Walmart. And this is the PS5 plus a game plus a controller, okay? So I paid for this, I paid $784, okay? So follow with me here, okay? Now, my okay, so now I got the PS5 and I sold the whole bundle, okay? I sold just the PS5 for $800 to someone locally because they're really hard to get, okay? So a net profit of this bundle, yeah, I know I'm a scalper, was $16 in cash. $16 in cash. However, I kept the controller, which is an $89 value, so let's say $90, right? And I also kept the game, which is Crash Bandicoot, which is another $60, okay? So now at this point, I'm essentially up $156, $166 in value. So I'm up $166, okay? Now, then I got my video card, right? Which I sent back for an RMA, and they're actually shipping me a brand new one on Friday. And I just looked at Google, right? On eBay, and right now a 5600 XT used. So mine's gonna be brand new because it's gonna be RMA. So I'm gonna sell my 5600 XT when I get it. And right now they're going for around $700 on eBay. Okay, so let's do some math here. Now the third thing is that I managed to get a really good deal on the 3060 off Facebook Marketplace for $820 cash. Okay, so that's actually really, really good right now. $820 Canadian, it's a lot of money, but it is what it is, right? And also keep in mind, my 5600 XT, I bought new. When I bought it new, it was, I paid $452. Okay, so let's do the math here, all right? So I got the PS5, I sold it for $800. And between the bundle savings and the extra cash, I was up $166 in the life. So my Frangie math. Second, I'm gonna sell my 5600 XT for $700 when I get it. I'm gonna just say $700 cash. I'm not gonna try to like do any sort of like bids or anything like that, which will put me up $866, right? Minus the $820 that I paid for, so essentially I'm up in value $866 at this point, right? Because I got a free controller and a free game. And I bought the new card for $820, okay? So minus $820. Okay, we're at $46 now, profit. But also keep in mind that I actually bought that original card for only $452. So if I take my 452, let's see, here we go. So 452, where's my calculator? Because I'm bad at math. So 452 minus 46. Sorry, 46 plus 452. Right? So, sorry, no, minus 46 minus 452. Equals, wait, what am I doing? Hold on, I've just lost myself. So I have $46 now, positive. And I spent, I sold the card for basically $300 extra. So long story short, guys, I essentially made $46 on all this rigmarole of the card. I'm essentially up $46 in cash, in value. Just with a little bit of trades and like back and forth and stuff like that. But actually, when you think about it, because I sold that card for $700, right? I actually made, sorry, 700 minus 456 is another $315, essentially. So I essentially gained another $350 in value. So through this whole saga of the video card, Devin Nash definitely does this better. I'm basically up around 460 bucks, 360 bucks, which I think is pretty good, right? So I'm pretty happy with everything as it turned out. Now, assuming I do sell the video card for the like $700, then I should essentially have gained in this whole transaction. Like I should be up, you know, like if I was playing against house, I'd be up. So I'm pretty happy with that. Like in the end, I feel like I didn't end up having to shell out a ton of money or a ton of extra whatever just to get my card. But obviously I've been down on my stream. My computer's been down, which has really sucked. I didn't realize how, and I have a laptop, guys. And so I've been like doing all my like work on there. And also I have a TV. So I've been like basically, I've basically been like watching, I have a smart TV. So I have like Netflix and YouTube and stuff on that. But like, do you know how annoying it is to like watch, like I didn't actually realize how annoying it is to use the like built-in TV apps to watch YouTube and Netflix on your TV, because normally my PC is actually hooked up to my computer as well, and I'll just run my computer as the main monitor, and I'll just use my wireless mouse literally from my couch and use that as like, and I'll watch YouTube and Netflix from my computer on my TV from my couch. So that was it's been really annoying the last like 3 weeks basically while I've been down dealing with this fucking this shit basically. Yeah, it's all fixed now. Okay. Oh yeah. And now you got to hear the funny part about my stupid story. So I got the card last night, right? And I was very excited. I got home pretty late and I had company, so I didn't want to spend a ton of time trying to fix it. I plug it all in, or so I think I plug it all in. And not only are they trash, yes, meatballs, but like they're so hard to use. Like try typing. Like if you like, obviously I know, I think on like most TVs you can I think plug in, like mine has a USB, so I think you can plug in like a keyboard monitor combo or a keyboard mouse combo probably, but I'm not sure. But like trying to type in anything on a remote control where you have to like pick every letter, it's literally hell on earth. Like it makes you never want to use your TV for any of that stuff. And it's just annoying too. Like the TV's slow, like loading stuff. So I started playing a lot of Final Fantasy in the meantime. I got like, I think I'm on chapter 3 right now, Final Fantasy 7. So I'm not that far into it, but I've been really enjoying it. And I'm going to be streaming that on Friday now that I have everything set up. And then, oh yeah, so I get the card, I plug it in, I go to turn on my computer, it doesn't work. So it won't, this is the part where I'm going to be very embarrassed as someone that just spent the first part of the stream explaining how I've been building computers for 20 years. These two things I'm going to tell you are extremely embarrassing, and please don't ever tell anyone that I told you this, but obviously it's going to be on stream. So first things first, I'm like, that's weird. It won't boot, right? Like, and modern PCs don't have PC speakers. So all I have to go on is the error code light on my, my motherboard, right? I'm like, I wonder what it is. And I think, okay, well, I look at all the cables on the motherboard, everything's plugged in on the motherboard. And I'm like, okay, like, I don't think there's any issues there. You know, I try reseating the RAM, I reseat everything. And I'm like, well, maybe while I was like kind of doing all this, like pulling apart and everything, maybe the CPU got like loose, or sometimes CPUs are very, very pressure sensitive. Like if you, like if you don't tighten them perfectly well and they're like, the pins are slightly off, they can cause issues. And the CPU light was on my motherboard. So I'm like, it must be something with the CPU, right? And I was kind of upset. I was like, fuck, maybe it wasn't the video card, right? So I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, maybe the video card from the very beginning wasn't the problem. Maybe it was actually something else. And here I am, just went through all this effort, 2.5 weeks, all these trades to get this video card, and it's not even the video card, right? So I'm feeling really dumb right now. So I go to, I'm like, you know what? I'll reseat the CPU. So I go to pull off the heatsink, and put it back on. And I'm gonna show you guys something, and I want you guys to promise not to laugh at me. And what did I pull off? Hold on. What did I pull off my heatsink? Well, apparently when I installed it the very first time, I forgot to pull off the very clear piece of like plastic that separates the metal on the heatsink that literally says warning, please peel off before you use it. So when I put my cooler on, I completely didn't even like look at this. Put this, so for 2 years, I've been running my CPU. Like you can see the thermal paste on it. Without proper thermal paste, it's had this plastic like piece on there. And I was like, I remember watching like a Linus Tech Tips where they actually did a test to see if it makes a difference. It actually doesn't make a huge difference unless you're overclocking, which I haven't been. But I remember watching, I'm like, what kind of idiot would leave that on their CPU heatsink? So I was like, oh my god, I can't believe I left this. This has been on my fucking CPU heatsink for fucking 2 years, and I have almost 2 years, and I haven't noticed. I haven't noticed it on the temps because I don't overclock my system because there's no need to. So that was the first thing that I discovered, which I was very embarrassed by. And then second thing, this was all last night, right? So I'm frustrated. I'm like, guys, fuck, maybe it's the CPU, maybe it's the motherboard, whatever. So I like impulse order a motherboard from Amazon, a replacement motherboard, like $200 X570 motherboard, whatever. And then I wake up this morning and I'm like, fuck, let me spend a little bit more time on it. Let me make sure I understand what all those warning lights are. And someone is like, oh, oftentimes when that warning light's on, it's because people forget to plug in the 8-pin power connector, right? I'm like, no, I plugged in the 8-pin power connector, right? Of course I would have plugged in the 8-pin power connector for the CPU, right? So I go to the system, I look at it, the 8-pin's plugged in, but I look at the other side and I grab the cable for the 8-pin and I pull it, and sure enough, it's unplugged. My 8-pin is just sitting there loose, right? And I'm like, oh my god, I'm so embarrassed. Like, I've literally been like built like for me to make a mistake like that is like fucking embarrassing. So, and what happened is when I went to actually adjust the I thought at one point maybe the GPU power connector was like fucked up, and that's why I went to like readjust the power. And so yeah, sure enough, I plug in the GPU power connector or the CPU power connector. Guess what? The system boots, right? Okay, but we're not out of the woods yet. So the system finally boots, but it like doesn't boot right away. Like it took me like 3 or 4 times attempting to get it to boot. Like I got display, but because of the, I don't know, I reset the CMOS, reset the bus, all that kind of stuff, and it was just having a lot of issues. Like it wouldn't boot, and I think there was some other loose power connectors. So I kind of went through, I kind of reseated all the power connectors, put everything back in, made sure everything was connected properly, like nice and tight, and then started it, and then sure enough, it boot. Put back in all the RAM, because obviously when you're troubleshooting, I'm just using like 1 stick of RAM. So that I thought was the end of my my issues. But then when I went to actually set up all my devices again, for some reason the my webcam was having, so this right now, this feed right now that you guys are watching, this is on my Brio, Logitech Brio, and then I have a DSLR here for my my painting. But the webcam was like flickering. Like anytime I set it to higher than 720p, it would like glitch out in OBS, and I couldn't figure out why. So I finally ended up I went through like a bunch of troubleshooting steps, like for another like 30-40 minutes. I'm like troubleshooting the webcam. Finally, I basically just reinstalled and reinstalled OBS and like reset all the settings and stuff, and it seems to be working now. But yeah, it's just like what a pain in the butt, guys, to finally get back up and running, you know? So that has been my computer saga the last little while. And I had one of those points, like I've always been a PC guy over like a console. Sorry, I've always been a PC guy over console guy. Obviously, PC Master Race, but like, I was finally having one of those moments where I'm like, fuck, man, PCs are like, this is one of those times where like, I fucking hate PCs because it's like, it's always so like, you know, like, you know, and I'm not like an IT dude, right? Like, I don't do IT, but like, I feel like I know enough, obviously, to like figure out my shit. But anyways, it's very embarrassing. So that is the computer saga. I'm hoping it's over. And now I have a brand new video card, which I'm very excited about. And the other cool thing is now my stream is on NVENC encoding, so it's hardware encoded, which I think will mean that I can basically run now some games off my system, and it's not going to lag it like it did before, where it was software encoding and it was basically taxing the CPU a lot. So yeah, that's kind of the whole streaming story. Hope you guys enjoyed it. What a shit show. Yeah, it's always, but the thing is, Max Lurker, like to your comment, those are the kinds of errors that like I always am like, oh yeah, that's the first thing you should check. Like, make sure all your power cables are plugged in, right? Like when someone's system isn't booting, it's like, is the CPU power connector connected? Is all your like, you know, it's like all just like the really, really basic shit. But oh well. Okay, a few other things, guys. Next week I'm supposed to actually go back to work, so I know I've been off work for a few months. Next week I actually go back to work, which is exciting. I start, I think, on Wednesday, or I might quit my job and not be employed. One or the other thing is going to happen. I have a big meeting with my business partners on Monday. So one way or another, I will have some updates for you guys next week on the stream about like my future and kind of what's going to be going on. What else do I want to talk about? Oh, so I watched Arcane. I have to say, it's the best animated show I've ever seen. Like, sorry, let me rephrase that. It's the best single season of an animated show I've ever seen. Now, there might be some shows out there where like the overall series as a whole, storyline as a whole are better. But for me, I watched Arcane during the last like 3 weeks, and I was like totally in love with it. I've never played League of Legends. I know nothing about League of Legends. Like, I'm not a League of Legends dude. But I watched Arcane, and I like fell in love with the characters. The like animation style is like amazing. The art direction is amazing. The characters are like, they're not just interesting, but they're like, there's depth to them. They're not like, you know, they're not like cartoon. They're like, you know, forgive the pun, but they're not like cartoon villains. You know what I'm saying? Where they like twirl their mustaches. Like, everyone has like I love the setting. I really like the overall storyline, and yeah, it was just like an amazing series. So if you guys have not checked out Arcane on Netflix, I would highly recommend it. And I kind of I think I need to rewatch it because the first episode I kind of like half watched. I was like, I don't know if I'm like gonna be into this, because I'm honestly, guys, I'm not a huge like, I'm, as much as I like what's going on here, as much as I love like certain shows, what's going on? Hey, Beef Kobe, how's it going, man? Thanks for rating me. Welcome all of Beef's friends and family. As much as I love oh, thanks, man. As much as I love like animated like style, the actual like cartoons, I guess, I've never been a huge like, you know, and I've watched quite a few, but like I almost like the aesthetic of like manga and anime more than I like the shows. Does that make sense? Does that make me a snob? Beef, welcome, and welcome your audience. Thanks, man. It's from all the lights. What colors did I use to get the lights? So I have two things. Oh, the blue. Oh, he said blue UV got going on. This blue? Nothing special, man. I just this right now is literally just these guys. Yeah. Leo Crusher, maybe I'm no, I'm not gonna say that. It's like no, I don't agree, man. I love anime. I love the style. Like I grew up watching Dragon Ball Z. I grew up watching like Pokemon. I grew up watching like lots of you know, like Akira is one of my favorite. I love. There's like a lot of like Avatar. I like is okay. I know a lot of people said it was like amazing. Yeah, it's just these two right now. When they're done, they'll be, if you check out my Instagram, JimOV_paints, you can see some finished ones. But basically, I gotta go this is the progression. These guys, and then into Armin Blue, and then a little bit of Blue Horror at the end. So those are kind of the ones I use mostly. But right now, it's very early stages. This is basically all I've done here. Is I've done all I've really done on these guys is base coat them in the blue. I wash it all with the Drakenhof Nightshade, and then I go back and I'm re-highlighting. So like you can see the difference between these two. So I'm basically just picking out all the armor plates in the Thousand Suns blue, or the Thousand Suns blue. That's all I've done so far. Well, these actually Thousand Suns are for commission, so they're not actually mine. I sold my, I had a Thousand Suns army that I sold, so these will be getting sent off hopefully by the end of next week when I finish them. Yeah, blue's a it's a good color to paint. Anyways, check out Arcane if you guys haven't. It's an amazing show. I really enjoyed it. Hopefully that doesn't make me a pedophile because I enjoyed a cartoon. The other thing, like Final Fantasy X, still my favorite Final Fantasy. I know a lot of people will hate on me. I've been playing 7, and obviously I have a huge crush on Tifa, and she's my girl. I know a lot of people are like Aerith stans, but Tifa's definitely my girl. Yeah, like I feel like Jessie's also up there. You know, I could, you know. She's also my girl, but yeah, I've always liked those kinds of games, like JRPGs. I've always loved. So I actually think I like anime more because I played a lot of JRPGs growing up, and I always liked JRPGs. Like and JRPGs are Japanese RPGs, like that kind of traditional Final Fantasy style RPG. So I think I've always liked it from that. So it's based on the League of Legends, like. It's in the League of Legends universe. It's essentially a prequel to like the current timeline. But you gotta understand, I know nothing of League of Legends. Like I've never played League of Legends. I've maybe watched 2 minutes of gameplay of League of Legends. I literally went in knowing nothing about League of Legends at all. And for me, it was like incredibly enjoyable, and I really liked it. And it actually made me like go back and like do a little bit, like, you know, look into League of Legends a little bit more. Now I'm not gonna play League of Legends because everyone I talk to that plays says the game is completely cancer, and that there's a lot of other better, like, don't play the actual League of Legends, but there's a few other games that are in the League of Legends universe that are probably better. Like there's one that just came out, I think it's like an RPG action game called like Rifts of Runeterra or something like that. I can't remember exactly the names, but I'm probably gonna play some of those games, but I'm not gonna play actual League of Legends. Like I don't have the patience to play those kinds of online MOBA games where like you need to be like practice. It just reminds me of playing StarCraft, you know. I don't like the like yeah. Is that what they're called? MOBAs, right? Mobile Battle Arena or something like that. How long have I played 40K? I started hobbying about, I would say probably 2000, so about 20 years ago maybe. But I definitely took a break in the middle for like school and life growing up. So it wasn't solid through. What else do I want to talk about? Oh yeah, so on Friday, I'm gonna be streaming some Final Fantasy VII gaming. So I'm playing through the game. I've never played through it. I never actually played the original on PlayStation or whatever console is on, just because I never owned a PlayStation. So everything's kind of brand new to me. I know a lot of people saying it's a lot different than the original game, but I am enjoying the storyline so far. All the characters. The gameplay is a little bit weird because the last Final Fantasy game I played was Final Fantasy X for PlayStation 2, I think, which again is one of my favorite Final Fantasy, favorite RPGs I've ever played. And that's like a turn-based. The combat's very turn-based in that. But Final Fantasy VII Remake, the combat is it's basically action RPG, so it's a little bit more spammy. And I don't love it because one of the things I always liked about Final Fantasy is that ability to make one of the things I always liked about Final Fantasy was the ability to make those decisions and not feel rushed. That's why I'm not a huge fan of super twitchy actiony games, because I don't know, I'm getting older and my I like to kind of think through what I'm doing. I'm not a very good Twitch gamer. I was never good at FPS games growing up. So, I played a lot of FPS games, but I never had that really quick reaction style. So I've never liked the kind of fast, super fast paced kind of games where it's all about your reaction and stuff. I kind of am a bit more of a slower gamer, I guess. Yeah, see, I'm not there yet. I'm literally on chapter 3. I don't know. We just did the little visit to just the to get, yeah. I don't even know where I'm at in the game, but that's weird. I always thought that's really weird. I should be streaming in it says my source is only 720, but I should be streaming in 1080. That's really weird. Maybe it's because my bitrate's too low for my video. Anyways, Arthur, as far as your question, dude, I don't know, man. I've mentioned it before, but I grew up with very little consoles. I was not a console player growing up. I was a PC gamer my whole life. My very first and last console that I got was a Sega Genesis in 1995. My parents bought it for my birthday. And then I haven't owned a console since then. So the PS5 is literally the first console that I personally have bought or owned myself since that Genesis. Now, I played a lot of N64 growing up with my friends because they had them, and my roommates had PlayStations. So I haven't really played Xbox a lot in general. So I wouldn't really be good person to answer that question because I literally don't know enough about either console to tell you what one's good or what one's bad. I guess for me, ultimately, especially with these new gen, the newer consoles, it'd probably come down to things like game libraries, what kind of games do you like, and then also certain other features. In the past, PlayStation was cool because it was a Blu-ray player, right? But who watches Blu-rays anymore? When was the last time you guys ever? Yeah, but Sam, I agree. It looks fine to you. My point is, I'm on Twitch, and it says my quality is at 760, which is weird because I should be streaming at 1080. 1080, is that right? Because if you go to oh, maybe on YouTube it's, let's see on YouTube it's 762. That's really weird. Most of my other streams are 1080. I'll have to figure it out later. Could be like a settings change since yeah, so one of the things that made PlayStation's good, sorry, back to the thing, is they had Blu-ray players. Well, who the fuck cares about Blu-ray players anymore? When was the last time you owned or bought a Blu-ray, right? Xbox Live, I hear, is like incredible. I have PlayStation Now, which is like their version. Apparently it's not as good, but it's still pretty good. There's like a bunch of free games included. I'd honestly probably pick a console based on like what games you like and maybe like what your friends have, so you can play with them. Like those would be like the two. No, I don't really know any friends, and I don't really game with any friends, so I don't know. I don't like have any friends that like games, so to speak, on console, or the ones I do are all PC gamers, which I still think is a superior platform to both. So most of my multiplayer gaming I do on PC, right? Yeah, I think I remember when, I think it was an Xbox, or I don't know what console it was, that had like I think Blu-ray, maybe it was, yeah. I think that was like mainly the reasons like Blu-ray won the big, because remember it was like, there's like HD DVD or like some other kind of format, and there's like a big war. The great like HD disc wars of like 2003. And Blu-ray won basically. So yeah, I'm excited to get more into it, Meatballs. I just like, as I said, like it's just been slow going getting playing. I have to be in the mood to actually like play consoles and play games these days. Like I have to like to sit down and like sit there and play a console game. It takes like, I don't like to just like play quickly. I have to like dedicate the time to it. And sometimes at night I just like to watch TV and not play. I guess that's what happens when you get old. All right, so that is the Thousand Suns work I'm gonna do. So what I'm gonna do for the rest of the stream, guys, is I'm gonna just work on this Sylvanas model that I have. So I'll show you guys what I'm working on right now. This is my secret project. So I'm just gonna get a new blade. Okay, so here it checks out. So it's a 3D printed Sylvanas Windrunner that I'm painting for a commission for someone's Christmas. So I'm gonna spend some time on this right now. Let's get it cleaned up because there's like little pieces of, you can see here on the resin. They're called, what are they called? Supports in 3D printing. So once I'm done this, I'm gonna get it primed. This will be a fun project. So I'm gonna paint this exactly like the box art, basically. I was told the best way to actually remove this is to like soak it first in some hot water, so they're not as brittle. So maybe I'll do that actually. Anyone heard that? Just because I'm just concerned about breaking it at some certain points. No, this is so this is what I'm going to be painting tomorrow on stream if you guys want to check it out. I'm going to be painting it just like the box art. Or the game art, I guess. Her eyebrows kind of fucked up. Also, let me know if the my head's in the camera, because sometimes when I'm like my head's down, it's in the camera. So just let me know in chat. But I can't see if my head's in camera when my head's down because I don't have eyes on the top of my head. All right. Any more? I think that's all of them. Kind of a cool model. I kind of wish it was in pieces though. Like it kind of sucks that it's all one thing. Just means that it's gonna be a little bit harder to paint, a little bit more annoying to paint, but it is what it is. Is my hat totally blocking the model? There you go, this should be better. Well, the Dark Angels Commission, long story short, I'm not doing it anymore. is the best way to just tell you. I don't really get into it, but there was what I finished parts of it, and then most of it's gone. But it's out of my hair at this point. So right now I'm working on it's complicated, is what I'll say. Nothing bad, like it's just there's a change of, I guess, desire on the client's part, and so I've basically so the reason I'm doing these Thousand Suns and not Dark Angels is essentially that I'm doing these instead of Dark Angels, but much less. So I'm doing I have a bunch of Thousand Suns to do, basically these rubrics and then about like 3 or 4 more kits instead of the Dark Angels. If that makes sense. So whatever the Dark Angels that I didn't finish, I sent back to the client, and then they've decided they want something else instead. So rather than not, yeah, so I'm just doing a different project basically in instead. No, it's okay. It's actually, I'm happy. I'd much rather paint Chaos than more Marines. No one likes Marines. All right, guys. I think I'm going to call it there. It's good kind of first stream back after a few weeks of downtime. So I'll be back tomorrow at 3 p.m. Pacific. We're going to be working on Sylvanas, trying to finish these Thousand Suns a little bit more. And yeah, I'll see you guys there. Thanks for tuning in, and hope everyone has a great